stand tall. Words of blades that never fall, debate like warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. In the ring we stand tall. Words of blades that never fall, debate like warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. Through the noise we cut clean, spirited mind sharp and keen. With a spark that lights the night, join us in this epic fight. Welcome to the Spartan Arena, where minds clash and thoughts clean. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance. In this arena, there's no chance to escape the fight by lore. Dive in deep in the search for more. From heartfelt talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome to the Spartan Arena, where minds clash and thoughts clean. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance. In this arena, there's no chance to escape the fight by lore. Dive in deep in the search for more. In the ring we stand tall. Words are blades that never fall. Debate like warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. Through the noise we cut clean. Spirited minds sharp and keen. With a spark that lights the night, join us in this epic fight. Welcome to the Spartan Arena, where minds clash and thoughts gleam. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance. In this arena there's no chance to escape the vibrant lore. Dive in deep and search for more. From heartfelt talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome to the Spartan Arena, where minds clash and thoughts gleam. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Be heard. Will be heard. Will be heard. Will be heard.
Spartans! What is your profession?
What is going on, everybody? We're back at it with another episode, another stream. Of course, you know where you're at. Spartan Institute Network. This is Spartan Arena, one of the best shows you can tune into. But you know I can't do this by myself. I gotta bring my boy in. Before I bring my boy in, let's do a little housekeeping, see who's there, who's not. Of course, we got Mariana in the house like always. Marcus is in here too. And the Queen of Queens, Lady Novoa. All right, let's get this little group in here. I love when I do that. I get a kick out of it every single time. David, what's going on, my man?
I'm doing good. What's going on with you guys over there? Hello, everybody. Hello, Lady Nabo. Hello, Marcus, Mariana. Hello, the Black YouTube space, and all the maniacs out there. How you guys doing?
So, David, I have a question for you.
Shoot,
Are you ready to become a better version of yourself?
that's a nice, good, serious question. Hmm. If I want to be a better version of myself, I think that's something you do every day, every week, every month, every year. I think that's the journey because today, I was trying to figure out what to talk about on this topic, right? Until I saw the last 40 minutes of the one of my filter show when he was speaking about the Shador Sanders situation, and when he did a master class on that, breaking down in not only in detail, but he paint a clear 4K picture of the situation, and it started to let me know, you know what? That could be an ongoing journey you put to do each and every day of your life, trying to achieve a better version of yourself each and every day, trying to step up to the plate. But what I notice, the question you gotta ask, what version of yourself is acceptable in today's society? That's something when you say becoming the best version of yourself, right? That means you gotta come with a level of confidence, a level of contentment, have a belief system that is grounded on solid ground. I believe that have a strong foundation, right? You got to be well grounded. You got to be focused, driven. But what if that type of version of yourself is not wanted in today's society due to a fact maybe you're not the right race to project that type of version of yourself? Yeah, Dion, on letting about there's something that Willie Martin spoke about. If you ever get the chance to see his clip or watch his last broadcast he did today, if you make a clip of it, he broke something down that got me thinking about a lot of things.
Yeah, David, hang on 1 second. Let's get this guy in here really fast.
Ooh, who's here?
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our president. How are you, Mr. President?
A little tired, but I'm here. That's good.
I assume you had a long day.
Always. And I'm out call. It's I got some work to do tonight, so
You
grinding
like
away.
we never stop.
Mm.
So, David, go finish what you're saying, and then I'll let Paul come in his opening
So
thoughts.
when I was listening to what he was speaking on and break it out in detail, I started to ask myself like, yo, this show really just go deep on this conversation because we have said it many times about becoming a better version of ourselves. And for some reason when we do become a better version of ourselves, whether that positive version, to another person might be considered to be a negative version because you don't fit the race to be that better version of yourself in some kind of unique way. And what he said something about it's not racist, but there's a level of racism in it. I think that's what he said. But when you were breaking it out, I thought to think about it. Hmm. So if you take the time out to check yourself, do your imperfections, work on yourself, build your skills, be confident with, at the person, but be humble about it,
Hmm.
and walk with your head held up, that is not a good version if you don't fit the status quo, what they expect you to be that kind of person. Because I had to look back in some of my past jobs, I was becoming a better version of myself. And I was walking in a way whereby I had to be confident who I am, what I'm doing. And I know that when I do that, some people have a problem with that. And when they have a problem, what they normally do, they try to sabotage, put out false information about me, go behind my back trying to sabotage my work. That happened a couple of times on job sites. Something that I install and put in there, they'll go right behind me and sabotage and say that I didn't do an excellent job. Now realize I document everything I do. So when I hear when you talk about what happened with Shadow Sanders, I remember I came on No Cap Free. They told him he should not worry about it. He should not feel down about himself. Not realizing I saw a clip. He wasn't feeling bad. The boy was grounded. It's just that he had confidence in himself. And I hear too many idiotic doofus. I'm saying it right now. You can see my face. I don't care if you do the zoom up, but too many idiotic doofus scum of the earth, house slave jackasses coming on the platform or any social media platform, coming out under their useless mouth saying that Sidhu Sanda need to humble himself. Really? What you need to do is move that out of your mouth. Because that is not, now that I thought about it deeply before I came on the show, that thing rubbed me the very irritating way ever. Because I wonder if you're not a cocky person, but you're confident who you are, the person, you are putting work over a good period of time. You're building yourself up. Okay, you hit the gym, you do your squat, you do your bend press, you do your jogging, you eat well, you sleep well, you exercise, you do whatever, you perfect your craft, you work on your skills to become a better version of yourself. And you're confident in who you are and what you have accomplished. You're not bragging, but you work with a level of confidence, you're humble about it. And someone tell you to humble yourself, but you're not working bragging about it, but you believe in in your own ability. And people come around and tell you need to humble yourself. Really? Maybe the person who running their mouth is still not realizing you're still speaking out of a slave mentality. Because this with a topic I didn't think it would be this deep for me. I never knew it would be this deep. So when you talk about being a better version of yourself, the question to ask, what version of yourself is acceptable in this toxic society called United States of America? That's something I would like to know. Because if you're not braggadocious, but you're quiet or you're humble, but you're confident in who you are, you don't rub people up the wrong way, but you're very respectful, but still it's not enough. And they're trying to tell you to need to make some change. The question what I ask, what there about me that I need to change that you think is a problem? And make sure it makes sense. Because I'm not right now, I'm in a very different plane whereby I'm wondering, maybe this experiment that you call USA is nothing more than a failed toxic experiment. That we just gotta go back in our own place because I don't understand the idiocy that is being passed around. Maybe the water. I know I got a filter in my home that filter all the impurity to make sure my water is clean entering my body. Maybe everybody drinking the poison that's in the water. I don't know. But this today's topic, it got me stirred up in a very different way. That's why I'm very concerned about it. But I digress.
Paul, you want to go next?
Okay, what's the context here?
Well, you talk about becoming a better version of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's your open thoughts with that?
We got to temper it a little bit. I've been in a lot of arenas. I've been in a lot of environments where that's taught. I've probably even talked about it a lot myself in this platform. But the more I think about it, there has to be a balance, though, between becoming the best version of yourself and what outcome do you want? Because we got to be honest with people. You could be a better version, even the best version of yourself. But depending on your expectation or depending on what your desired result is, it still may not be enough. You could still suck. I mean, we've been preaching this for a while now, but you still have to temper, that change and whatnot. Again, what's the outcome? Why do you go to the gym? Why do you lift weights? Now, again, if your goal is to become a better version of yourself, to become stronger than you were yesterday, yeah, then I think certainly you will be satisfied and you'll be content with the outcomes that you get. If you go in there to become Arnold Schwarzenegger, you're going to find yourself very disappointed. Most people aren't because you don't have the genetics. Most bodybuilders who really do this for a living, they've been blessed with a certain genetic disposition that enables them to build muscle better than everybody else. Just because you take steroids doesn't mean you're going to become a champion bodybuilder. So we have to be able to temper the action or the goal of becoming a better version with what's the outcome. If this is for my own personal self-edification, then yeah, I think it's worthwhile. If you're talking about trying to get something that's outside of you, then you have to certainly recognize that if there's an expectation that the world may have, it may not line up with yours. And I heard a little bit. I didn't catch David's full commentary coming in talking about Shedeur Sanders and whatnot, but that is the reality that he had to learn. And he even admitted himself that he could have did some things differently. So it doesn't matter how much you think about yourself or whatnot in the environment that you set up for yourself or whatever. If you're going in to apply for a job, well, then or even if, let's say, if you're a business and if you're going after a customer, if you're going to have if this is about a transaction, then you also have to be sensitive to who you're making the transaction with. So again, what's the point of becoming better? Or if you do become better, but if you think that all of a sudden because I became better, I deserve this. No, it's going to depend on what the market dictates in terms of what they want. And you have a lot of people out there. So, and again, we got to ask the question, just taking it to the extremes. You can have people who spend all time, reading and gaining knowledge and wisdom and understanding and all these things and have nothing to show for it. But then you have people who've been able to go out there and make themselves millionaires, if not billionaires, but probably have some of the worst self-image in the world. Very faulty individuals. Unfortunately, we have someone in office. But so again, you got to have to balance these halves. So if we want to talk about it, just what it does for you, the person, the individual, or whatnot, yeah, that could be a very positive experience. But you have to also be real about how the world works, and if you want to have some leverage, some say so in the world, then you also have to understand how the world works. And then the question you have to ask yourself is, what am I willing to do and what am I not willing to do to comply with that to get the outcome that I want? So I think the conversation has to be brought into that. And as long as you understand that, then whatever you want to do is fine with me. I don't care what you do. If you just want to live a life of of um of poverty, but in contentment or whatever, you want to live in the woods somewhere and just live off the land and all that. I got no angst with you whatsoever. But if you want to play in Silicon Valley, if you want to play in the big, in the big areas where stuff's going on, if you want to compete in the world of sports, all those things, then again, they have rules. Will your conscience allow you to follow and comply? Yes, comply with those rules. And if you don't, then pick something else. But I think we got to get beyond this idea is that, yeah, everyone can become a better version, but I'm still going to ask the question, well, what are you doing that for? I've known people, for example, who have gone to law school and quit in their third year. I know people who quit medical school in the final year because they came to a point to decide that that's not what they wanted to do. Because they thought their parents or that, their parents wanted them to do it or some other peer pressure or whatever it was that says, okay, do that. Then they came to a point, look, I don't want to do that. Now, again, where they wound up, are they happier because of making that decision? I don't know. But regardless, I think they were at the time, they were willing to live with the consequences of their actions. So we have to, so again, but as long as the person is willing to eat that and live with those consequences, I got nothing for you. But at the same time, don't complain about the results that you're getting. Don't complain about the world being unfair when you didn't necessarily want to do what it takes to, again, get the outcomes that you want in the world. You can't have it both ways. So,
All right, let's get this guy in here. He hasn't popped his head in a long time. All right, coach, you're up. Let's see what the coach has to say.
Sparta, I heard the question, but I want you to ask me that question again. How y'all doing, man? First of all, I just want to hear it out loud again.
It's not a question, it's more I want your opinion about what is to you your open thoughts of the best version of yourself.
Okay.
Becoming the best version of yourself. Let me rephrase. I'm sorry.
Okay. I think I heard it a little earlier, and I was thinking about this about 2 hours ago. I don't think I would ever reach that pinnacle in my life, being the best version of myself, because I've always appreciated learning day to day, year to year. I've always, sort of been, I don't know, I've always loved life, my ups and downs, regardless of where I've been. When you're young, we have these great aspirations, right? We want to be the best in the world at whatever we choose. We want to make $1 million. We set these lofty goals, but I don't think most of us really sit down and go through those goals step by step. What does it take? Am I going to discipline myself to be a little bit more, less, to be a little bit more frugal with my money? Am I going to be a little bit more undisciplined when it comes to the foods that I eat? And I think, despite what's happened in my life, growing up with my father and I'll give him all the credit. He gave me the drive that I have today. I saw how he struggled, but I never let it deter me from things that I wanted to be able to do. I always said to myself, I want to live free. I want to go climb the mountains that I see on TV. I want to, go to the coldest parts of the world and see things that I only seen on TV. But I also understood it's going to take some hard work to get there. And even though I may not get to those places, just being able to have that motivation to aspire always drives me. I never believe in the word I can't do something. It's always I can. When I coach, I don't even use the word can't on the field. Yes, you can. and you will. I think, when everybody's young, when I talk to a lot of young men, even my son, I'm asking him every time I talk to him, what is your plan? What is your goal? What is your end goal? Why are you taking these trainings? Why are you trying to get your CDL? Are you looking to drive over the road? Are you looking to make it a life? You have to think about the long-term effects of it, what it will affect. It'll affect your ability to possibly maintain a family. You might get some medical issues sitting down all day. You know what I'm saying? Shit. So those, just trying to give him things to think about, and he's going to learn and through trial and error. But I always want to be a person that give at least the most unbiased advice, not about how I feel about it. Because how I feel could block the true vision. But, I don't think there's one set plan for everybody, because everybody's goals and, ultimate, pinnacles of life are different. I've never chased money. I've always chased the skill, and the skill brings the money. So, I don't know, man. I think the best version, I'm bald headed now. My eyes ain't as strong as they used to be.
First of all, that is the best version. Don't be dissuaded by
Well,
this
wait a minute.
channel.
When I had
That is
hair,
the best version of yourself.
when I had hair, I thought I was, nice, but
No, you're living your
First
best
of
version.
all, I got a bone to pick with you
You're
both
living
heads.
you're living your best version of yourself right there.
Well,
I
my
have a
physical
bone to pick
self,
with both of you. I got
that's-
stuck on a panel with bullheads last night. I was the only furry son of a bitch on that on the Real Pressure just day. So
but it
It's
looks
called
good
it's
though.
called jealousy.
who's talking there? Mr. Clean.
See, now you jealous. That's a jealous shot.
Jealous?
See,
What
look,
are
yeah,
you jealous? You see
shame,
this hair?
insult,
You see this hair?
sign
You
language,
see this?
shame, insults, and the need to be right.
That's a jealous shot right there.
You've
Same
reached your
insult,
limit
guilt,
on
and it needs to
talking.
be right. See,
Shut
look at
the
it.
fuck up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's my thing with this. I want to give you my way see new version. When I used to train martial arts, I used to train kids like a tree. The reason like a tree is you're growing roots, brand new roots. As the tree grows, you're developing new habits, discipline habits that are good and bad. And the same token, you have two choices here in life. Option A, the easy route, or option B, the hard route, but it's going to teach you everything you need to know in life and make you the best man possible out there. I'll pick the hard route any day of the fucking week. Make me go through the hard roads. Make me suffer. Make me cry. Make me work twice as hard as anybody out there. But at the end of the day, it's honest work, honest living, honest everything. That's how I feel you're becoming a better version of yourself. You develop slowly. Even at 39 years old, I'm still developing as a man. With little Groot over here, he's still growing as a man. Fuck you, David. Paul, you too. You raised 3 beautiful ladies plus your wife, and I bet you still are developing, changing as a person you are. You're not the same person 3-4 years ago. Am I right or wrong?
100%.
Same to you, coach, right? Since you joined our YouTube family, you are probably a different person now. And that's what the best version to me is. I'm going to play a video, then I have a question to follow up with you guys. Let me get it ready really fast.
So if you wake up in the morning.
All right. That backfired in my face big time because I forgot to mute it. Let me find it.
Now, when I was 15 years
There we go.
Now, when I was 15 years old, I had a very important person in my life come to me and say, "Who's your hero?" And I said, "I don't know. I got to think about that. Give me a couple of weeks." I come back 2 weeks later. This person comes up and says, "Who's your hero?" I said, "I thought about it. You know who it is?" I said, "It's me in 10 years." So I turned 25 10 years later. That same person comes to me and goes, "So are you a hero?" And I was like, "Not even close." No. She said, "Why?" I said, "Because My hero is me at 35. So you see, every day, every week, every month, and every year of my life, my hero is always 10 years away. I'm never going to be my hero. I'm not going to attain that. I know I'm not. And that's just fine with me because that keeps me with somebody to keep on chasing. Now, when I was 15 years old, out of
All right,
Wow.
you want to go first in this one?
I want to go first.
Go ahead.
I know that actor very well, and I like his demeanor. But when he dropped that nugget right there, that's the first of its kind I ever heard someone put it that way. Because let's be honest, I went to public school out here in the '80s in the USA, Brooklyn, New York. And then people were asking, "Who are your hero?" People would either mention a sports star or a movie star or someone in the military or someone they look up to. Not one did they say, "Oh, myself in 10 years," and put it in that way where I'm chasing to become better who I was today, next 10 years later from now. That is like a level of not only keeping yourself humble, but also keep yourself hungry. That's 8H right there. Humble but hungry. Because for the past 30 years, I have been trying to pass down whatever ounce of wisdom down to the younger generation because somebody told me, what I do for you, you don't have to repay it back to me. They pass it down to somebody else who may need it. So every now and then I come across with someone in a conversation, I drop free gem. I don't charge them. You have people out here in the YouTube space that are charging you for a course to get what kind of knowledge that it's easy to give for free, but you rather you charge you for $100, maybe $1,000. You spend that much money and what they give you is piece of crap. So you wasted $1,000, $100, 200, whatever that cost may be, to gain a particular kind of knowledge you could have got by yourself, which could have been easy, but they rather milk you for it. So when I hear that right there, that is iconic. I think I'm gonna add that to my reservoir because I think that is something you can put upon yourself, not only to keep you grounded, but also to keep you focused. I digress.
Paul, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm comfortable with the statement. I think the more I think about it, I kind of disagree with it a little bit.
And that's fine.
So you talk about hubris. We don't even know if we're going to get up tomorrow. God doesn't promise us tomorrow. So if you go talk about, well, my hero's going to be 15 years away, you better cut that down to a year or a month, or live in the moment, live in the present. And again, I remember that when again, training. I keep training has been more than just physical training. It's a mindset. It's an attitude. It's something that I've kind of tapped into. Now, remember when I started training. All right, I'm 6'3", and I was 158 pounds when I did it in earnest. And my first goal was, well, I'm going to be real good. I'll be real proud of myself when I get to 170 pounds. That was like the first goal that I set for myself, 170 pounds. And when I got there, it was a very short-lived celebration. Then I said, well, let me get up to about 180. Yeah, 180, and I'll be straight then. Yeah, I'll be something if I get to 180. And the same thing. And it kept happening. Then 200 became the goal. And then I said after a while, I said, you know what? It's not about the goal necessarily. It's about what you are becoming in the process of accomplishing that thing.
Thank you, Paul.
So it's the daily habits, it's what you get up with, it's the attitude that you get up with, an attitude of thanksgiving, an attitude of this is an opportunity for me to learn something, an attitude that says, I'm going to enjoy today, and I'm going to be the best version of myself today. And if you can string a few days together, or a few weeks together, a few months together, then I think you got something. But I'm not waiting for 15 years down the road. I may not, because I may not like myself in 15 years. I've seen a lot of people who've had falls in life, guys who were straight, but now they're married and now they're divorced, guys who were had no drugs and got hooked on something. So I don't know what that is. I don't know what's coming down the pike. I don't know what's going down the road. I have to live in the present and be comfortable in the present and take the victories and the blessings of the present, so that if I am blessed to be 15 years from now, then I can appreciate it. But I think you have to become a hero now, not 15 years from now. So I wouldn't necessarily buy that, someone to chase. Now the chase is now. I'm not looking down, because again, that was very fleeting. Ask any guy who wins a championship. As soon as you win the championship, yeah, you're on that high for like a week or something like that. But then guess what? It's back to training camp. It's back to the gym. It's back to the grind. Otherwise, you're not going to win next year. So for me, I don't. I stopped. Now again, I used to think that way, but after chasing and chasing and chasing, never quite reaching, and then never quite being satisfied with the outcome, I fell in love with the process. And it's the process by which I judge. And whatever I get from that, whether it be blessing or whatever it is in certain capacities or whatever, I'm content, I'm satisfied. But goal setting, again, I'm not opposed to it. But I think what's missing from that is the expectation from the goal setting. Because again, you string a few failures together. If your expectations are such, you keep failing and failing and failing, what's that going to do to your mindset over time? Unless you start to understand what that process is, and being proud of yourself that, look, you took it on and you did, what you had to do in that process, kept it going. And like I started the show with, are you seeing some positive outcomes? Are you seeing, if you're in the gym, are you putting 5 pounds consistently on the weight rack? Or are you doing the same weight that you did last year and the year after that? Or are you getting faster, or your time's getting shorter, or you getting some measurable that you can say, okay, I'm progressing in this particular area. But I'm these days, and maybe it's an age thing with me, I'm appreciating the now more so than what's in the future. Because at my age, look, I can stay as strong as I can for as long as I can. But I think for me and Coach, I think we're at the point in our lives now, I don't think I'm going to be as strong as I am now in 10 years. Because just the human body is such, you're going to reach an upper limit. I can be strong. If I'm benching 315 right now, I'm just throwing that number out. It's going to be very unlikely that at 65, I'm going to be benching 315. But can I appreciate it? Let's say if I pulled it back to say 225, 235, whatever, at 65 years old, I'm still in the process. But again, it may not be where I'm at. So again, it could be an age thing with me. Maybe I'm thinking in my 20s, yeah, I was thinking, 10 years from now, I'm going to have this, I'm going to have that, and have my dream boards up and manifesting and all that kind of stuff that was, certainly in the 90s when that stuff started coming out. But I embrace the day. So just like that line from Scarface, every day above ground is a good day. And I'm able to see the good in every day. And that's kind of how I operate now.
Coach?
I'm always on mute. It's something called SMART goals, right? And SMART goals it's exactly what it sounds like. And I just read it off. It's something that is specific. Setting goals, I think hearing it from him, I think it does the normal person who's working every day a disservice to think like that, because you don't have the luxury to think 15 years out and you being your idol at that time, because you're in the moment now. You're putting in the work now. So, but smart goals. I used to work with and say this all the time, even for myself, I adopted it. Once I really dove into it, I understood. Are my goals specific? I can't say I want to be a millionaire, but I have nothing specific on how to get there. Again, that's very important. You have to be specific about goals, and goals, although you can have lofty goals, it's best to start, I'd say, within, people always say, what's your 5-year plan? Similar to that. It can be 90 days, like Mr. Bennett said, working out, getting in better shape, 90-day plan, getting up off the couch, just walking, taking a few more steps. Is it measurable? You know what I'm saying? It's not so far down the road that it seems unrealistic. Can you achieve it? Can you relate to it? Is it something that's really reliable? It's so many words you can throw in to a substitute for the SMART goals, the acronym, but is it has to be a timely goal. Like I said, it's not to say you can't have goals that are years down the road, but there are certain goals that you must accomplish within those 3, 4, 5, 6 years to even reach your goal. So I've always been able to just sort of, own that for myself, and, especially working with young people who don't know which direction to go. Everybody has these lofty goals, and, a lot of young people, it starts with money first. They don't care about the skill. They don't care about, the hard work it takes. If I can get the money, so it's just being able to break those things down and, let them know that you have a goal, you have accomplished the goal, whether you set it for yourself or not. If you go from a F one marking period, next marking period, you got a C. That's a goal, because the ultimate goal is to graduate, to move on to the next grade. But in that short period of time, with just that commitment and dedication and hard work, you can achieve that goal, part of that goal, by going to the next grade, getting a passing grade. Then the end of the semester, end of the year, you go to the next grade. So you're accomplishing goals, and some goals we have to accomplish by default. That's the thing, by default. We don't even set some goals, but we accomplish a goal. And, so when I hear from someone like that, who's in a position of 6 months on, 6 months off, 2 years on, he might work a year and be off 3 or 4 years and show up at all the college games on Saturday. And those are great goals. But for the average person, it's important to just set small goals for yourself. Last thing, I remember being 14 and trying to apply for summer jobs. I never could get none. The fact that my parents were married, I couldn't get no summer job. Even though all of my other siblings could get it, I couldn't get one. I don't know if I think my mother did something, because she went with us, but she filled out everybody else's stuff and she didn't do mine. I asked, she's like, don't worry about it. Then when I did it the next year by myself, they told me why. So she didn't want to tell me why, but I found out. But I took that rejection and learned how to cut hair. So I had in my mind, when they get paid on Friday, guess what? I'm gonna get paid some of their money. And my goal was to always have $30 a day in my pocket. I accomplished that goal when I was a senior. I would have 30, a little bit more, because I was good with saving money. You know what I'm saying? I used to let my father buy lunch money and shit. But you know what I'm saying? So that was something that I understood early. And once I became an adult and got outside my parents' home, my goal was to never go back home. Not to stay anyway. Visit, hang out, let my mom cook, but not to stay. So I think, it's important to have realistic goals that you can achieve in a short period of time, because those goals add up. Those accomplishments add up. And, Mr. Bennett, listen, man, you said that you was once 150 something
Well, when I
pounds?
graduated college, I was 147 at
Mr. Bennett.
6'3". Then when I
Mr.
got married, I was
Dang.
158, and I started working out in earnest, seriously, like about a year or two later after that. That's when I kind of got the gym bug after that. So I'm like not even 160 pounds, and now I'm 235. So
Mr. Bennett, I was 130 pounds at 12 years old. When I graduated, I was 185, right?
mhm.
You know, but I was never a chunky guy. I've always been like a little bam bam rock head. I always
See, I
was able
wasn't
to.
that.
I
I
always
was.
made weight to run the ball, and in
Mhm,
high school I played quarterback and running back.
mhm. See, I
But
was
to hear
never
you
that.
say,
Yeah,
yeah, so
I was Jimmy Walker. I was JJ from Good Times,
okay,
and I was slow. So I'm on the football team. And you got to run them laps around the football field or whatnot. You got to run them laps or whatnot. I'm in the
flat feet
back with the 400-pound
with the
kids.
lineman.
I'm with the back. My coach is yelling at me, Bennett, you so skinny. Why you hanging out with them fat guys back? I mean, back then there was no PC back
I
then,
know,
so I mean
yeah, it was
they just
rough.
said anything. So
Yeah,
you hanging out with them, you should be ashamed of yourself. But I was Steve Rogers. I mean, as weak as
what was
they
your
can.
shoe size? What size shoes were you wearing as you graduated high school?
Oh, probably 9.5,
Oh,
nine
okay.
and a half, something like that. But my feet kept growing. I'm almost a 13 now. But
I was going to say, I thought you'd been 13 then, but
no,
wow.
I just had no, I had no strength. I had no endurance. I was not a good athlete at all. I dunked the basketball for the first time in college.
Mhm.
So maybe call me a late bloomer or something like that. Yeah, if somebody would have got a hold of me at maybe 7, 8 years old, maybe I could have been something. But no, I came to sports late, organized sports late. My high school coach blessed me to be on the varsity team my senior year. He cut
Okay.
me my junior year. He cut me, and
Oh, Michael Jordan.
but I wanted to stay a part of the sport, so I became the record keeper. I went to all the games.
Okay.
I was on the bus with the athletes and whatnot. I kept the scores. I reported to the papers. Back then, you sent the scores to the paper,
To
and
the
they
paper, yeah.
posted the scores and all that. So I just wanted to be part of it. And but I came back and tried next year, and he was like, "All right, fine." I was like Rudy. He was like, "All right, just on the team. Just give him." And I got in the games on scrub time. I would get a couple, 2, 3 baskets there. I got my name in the paper and whatnot.
Yeah.
I was good with that, and even that when he gave me my letters at the senior celebration
Banquet,
and
yeah.
everything, that was the proudest moment in my life. So I was not the star, I was not all county, I was none of that. I was the bench warmer, but nevertheless, I felt so good just getting that which I had, and grateful forever that coach, forever great Frank Sipod. I'm always going to be grateful for him for giving me that opportunity just to be a part of the team. So that was it for me.
Now, I want to ask you guys a question.
Wow.
When it comes to best version of yourself, is it self improvement or more discipline or self love?
Well, one is a process and one is a result. So what are you talking about?
I'm asking a question. Which one do you? Oh, three I
Well,
brought
again,
up.
I'm asking what's so again. You're talking about everything is about a result.
Mm-hmm.
So again, self love, better outlook, better self image, better opportunities, more money, whatever that is. Then the versioning is simply the process in terms of how you get there. So again, without that, if you're just doing it to be doing it, there's a lot of people, encyclopedias of knowledge. I don't know if you guys remember that show Cheers. That guy Cliff Clavin on there, he was an encyclopedia, man. He knew stuff about stuff that nobody even cared about. And then I remember one time someone saying to me that knowledge in and of itself is relatively cheap. I mean, what point is it for you, especially, and this is like at the start of the information age and computers and whatnot? What's the point of doing all that kind of stuff? So basically, what you're saying is you learn all these stats, and all these statistics. And I remember when I was a kid, I was really into that. I said my mom, she bought me a set of encyclopedias since this is in the 70s. So she bought me all the encyclopedias. And I remember I used to be able to learn, I can name the top 10 longest rivers in the world, the top 10
Hmm.
tallest mountains in the world. I had all this knowledge at my fingertips, and I committed it to memory. And I thought I was impressing people when I was able to kind of, I was real good at trivia. And someone basically said, so basically what you're saying is you're probably worth, I don't know, whatever the cost of a computer was, or an encyclopedia or something. That's basically what you've valued yourself as.
Wow.
I mean, if because now you can just Google it now, right? So basically, you're nothing because
Wow.
all that information that I was so proud to know, I can Google it now. So really, he said where your worth is going to be is, again, your impact on the lives of other people, your drive, being a team player, contributing to society. Those are things where your time is valuable. So even again, the gathering of information and knowledge, at least in today's world, has limited value because now it's abundant. Back in the day, when you had wise men and folks who had they were valuable in the community and they were valuable in the world, and you had to go to them and sometimes pay money to come in. But now, especially with AI now, it's like for a lot of people, especially those in these tech jobs now, what's going to be the future for them if AI is going to be doing a lot of the jobs that they were 10, 20 years ago? They were the smart ones. So again, I think even with this idea of getting better, again, I think it has to be tied to an outcome that is meaningful, not just for the information in and of itself. I mean, it's good. Like, I learn something new every day. At my job, I learn something new every day. Yeah, it's good, but it's good long run because it's going to help me do my job better. Or when I encounter a problem, now I know how to fix it. So knowledge for knowledge itself, it's really not what it once was. Or improvement of self, again, that can have a certain benefit to you, a quality that you're feeling that. But again, I don't think we're here just to absorb knowledge for ourselves. I think as human beings, I think especially if you have any kind of spiritual foundation, I think you're supposed to be you're supposed to be salt and light in the world. You're supposed to be a blessing in the world. And so, what good is it to accumulate all that knowledge only for you to die one day and nobody even knowing who you were? Or you haven't passed on your DNA to anybody. You haven't really, um, you know, pushed the generation forward. So again, I that's why I started with, you have to have a purpose for this versioning, this improved versioning of yourself. It should translate into something where others benefit from your efforts.
All right. Anybody else want to take that?
Whew. I like how Mr. Bennett put it too, because when I thought about it when he was speaking about it, I too had a concern about knowledge. I'm more precise. What kind of knowledge are you seeking? What is the purpose of the knowledge that you seek? Is the knowledge that you're using is what getting, or you just getting this for the sake of flaunting it? Because if I want to tie it to something, we have been talking about it for a while within our community. How people like to flaunt things for personal reason. Perfect example. Ladies, black lady, you can get mad all you want. When you talk about how y'all the most educated ethnic group in the country, you graduate from college and everything, right? My question to ask you, what kind of degree are you achieving? Yeah, you got your bachelor degrees. Okay. No, let me talk from you got your associate degree, you got your bachelor degree. You got your master, and then you got your PhD. Okay, fine. What are the degree based on? Are they worthy of? Are they worth something that will lead you to the next level? Do the degree earn you a lot of money? Do the degree open doors? Are they back and weaving degrees? Are they aimless degree that don't make sense of anything whatsoever? Because what Mr. Paul Bennett was speaking about, I had to think a little deeper. I was like, hold up, that do make sense. But I find it very strange that a bunch of nincompoop, look up in the dictionary, that will go to school and get useless degree that don't mean shit to anybody. Yeah, I got my PhD, I got my master degree. Okay, how come you're gonna use your degree to get a job? What was the point of you getting a degree that you can't even, they don't require you for the job that you got right now? Why do you waste your time and waste money trying to get a certain knowledge in this degree that you cannot not use that, not even 1 ounce of it in what you're doing today in your regular job that you got right now? I'm just throwing that out there because my uncle told me this a long time ago. Whatever you seek, make sure what you seek is worth going after. I'm not gonna go to school and get a degree in something that not gonna lead to me a better job and climb up the rank of things if it's not worth it. Because that's something we talk in our culture. Excuse me. As a Nigerian, yeah, they were telling me, oh, either you be a doctor, a lawyer, or a banker. I get it. Knowledge in medicine. If I got my bachelor or master, it's worth it. Knowledge in I say banking first, then medicine or in law. Those are worthy knowledge that you can achieve for yourself. So what am I point me getting all this knowledge that I can't utilize it, or I can't pass it down to another, or I can't fine tune it? Like, what would be the point of that? I think we in a society we like to get unnecessary things just to flaunt or flash or pump yourself up, but it is a positive outcome of it, so to speak. Because when I look at Mr. Paul Better, I'm scratching my head like this man is making a whole lot of sense. I remember the Taco back in the 80s. It used to be like a whole, it had every year you got the 1982 Encyclopedia series, 1983, 1984, 1985, all the way to the 90s. And it stopped
And
in the hand
now
of the.
they're not worth anything because everything is literally right here.
I used to no, I used to feel out of place because I couldn't. My parents couldn't afford the Encyclopedia series. Because people like to show, oh, my dad got me the 1992 Encyclopedia series. They make it allow me to do my homework. Okay, but after a few years later, 1992 version is outdated. You ain't gonna get 1993 or 1994, depending on what year you were in.
Mm-hmm.
And when the computer boom
David,
came
I
in,
don't get too much
but hold on,
encyclopedia
hold on.
thing.
I like a drag, but when the computer boom got in, I asked myself, since they have all these books so that you can sell these things, how much money do you spend to buy these books? Can you make the money back? Are they worth any value afterwards? So I had to give it credit due to my big brother, Mr. Paul Bennett. He's speaking facts. So y'all lady, if I'm shitting on you, I'm trying to clap on you more. How about that?
David,
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
well, again,
No,
Sparta.
I'm not saying you doing it. I'm doing it because
right. But
I,
my point again, that's why still I'm talking about outcomes.
And that's the
Spartan.
thing.
So
But
like I
that
said,
come from
I'm not opposed to any of that. Going to school, getting, like I said, there is value in education or just your self knowledge. There's value in that. So I don't want to down someone for doing it, but again, you just have to ask the question: are you getting what you want from that, which you took all that time and money and experience to earn? That's all I'm
and
saying. If you're
and that's what
content with that, then I'm content with it also.
and that
I don't
But
want to.
and that's what
I
I'm
don't want to
pointing
shame
out.
anybody for going out there and
No,
doing
no,
something.
I'm
You
not
know,
shaming anybody, but I'm pointing out the obvious because when you speak there, I look at the much deeper picture of it, the much bigger picture. Why gain knowledge of something that you're not going to use afterward? But you just want to flaunt the paper.
Let's
I'm
coach
just
have
being shady.
his opinion for a second.
I'm
Hang
just
on.
being shady. This is Black David and Blackheart now.
Go ahead, coach.
Spartan again, I'm old, man. I heard a
Really, I
lot of
couldn't
great
tell.
answers. Hold on. What was the question again? Because I want to get, I'm hearing, because I don't want
Is
to, I don't want to focus on what I've heard with Brother David, but I want to hear the
is
question.
self improvement is becoming best version of yourself a self improvement or more discipline or self love?
Okay, so I think it's a combination of all three, right? Self-improvement is a process. It's not just something I did today and all of a sudden I'm strong. I can run 2 miles. I'm going to have to run 2 miles maybe for the next 2 months to get a better time. You know what I'm saying? Discipline, yes. I'm definitely going to have to have discipline because hell, I got to get out and get in these elements every day. That's going to take discipline. Rain, sleet, or snow. I got to be on a timely schedule. 2 hours to run. I ain't got 2 hours on the internet. I got to get to bed. I got to get my rest. I got to get my bed. So it's going to take a lot of different self-improvement. Again, it's going to be a combination of the process. I think we all go through life just being on this space and understanding, you all here in the last couple of year and a half, you all have still been evolving and self-improving and taking stances that you looked at before. You're not looking at the same way today because that's an evolution of who we are as people. So, I would never downplay encyclopedias. Hell, I wish, excuse me, I wish they would read more encyclopedias today because what encyclopedias did, it helped you learn how to read. Reading on the computer is one thing, but learn how to read that hard copy of that paperback gave you a sense of pride. I remember learning how to read in reading circles elementary. I was walking around trying to read everything I could set my eyes on. You know what I'm saying? But, it shows a different level of intellect, especially for the families that had a copy and they were used. Even because they was great for book reports. Just you want to hear about the birds doing a lot. You know what I'm saying? You have a quick reference. Today, of course, it's all technical. They just transferred the encyclopedia information and put it on the digital information, like they do everything. But I'm like Mr. Bennett. I would never downplay degrees, education. Black man, every white man, everybody goes to college. Some people go to college, have a great major, and get out and realize, you know what? I don't want to be no engineer. It sounded good, but man, the engineer, I'm a mechanical engineer. You mean tell me I got to climb up 32 stories? I got to get up? No. I'm afraid of heights. Not saying me, but people don't look at those things. They ain't got their goals set in the right place. They're not looking at that like, oh shit, I forgot I had to climb. I gotta be, don't y'all still see it in your application? Be able to lift 50 pounds or more, stand for a prolonged period of time. You know what I'm saying? So again, we all set our aspirations and our goals. And I just think, especially today with a little bit more avenue for employment and self-improvement, I think it would be a detriment for anybody to limit themselves and saying what they wouldn't do to be better.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? As long as it's righteous and it gives you peace of mind, I would say be open to all of it. Don't limit your options based off your feelings about it. Because you could love cooking, right? And I want to be a chef. And you motivated every time I come in there. You like, come on, man. I'm like, man, listen, I just want to cook me a few burgers and fries, man. You over trying to show me how to plate my food, man. Listen, man, it's fries and burgers, man. You trying to do all these things, how to prep it. And I'm like, hey, man, listen, man. Sparta, man, listen, man, why you always on my back? Why you all, what's going on, man? I'm doing the recipe. I'm doing the menu, like you said. But you understand, it takes discipline. It takes time. I have to be timely. Listen, man, I get it on my own time. They'll get the food when they get it. See what I'm saying? So it's just a process, and I think people understand things differently, and it changes with age. And I'll say this, and I'll shut up. I learned this some time ago, getting my Class B CDLs. As a man, every 4 years, you should be looking to be a different version, just a little better. Every 4 years, just like going to college, just time enough to learn it and actually practice it for a while. So every 4 years or so, you should be looking to just be a step above where you are. So but everybody's time frame is different.
So my opinion of this is, I think it's combination of all three. I think is more evolving. As you get older and wiser, you evolve to a different version every year, every other year, whatever the case is. I'm not the same Pete that was 3 years ago. I'm not the same Pete when I first met you, Paul, right? You fucking asshole. But it's serious. Oh, joking aside, you think we evolved as friends?
Our friendship has certainly evolved, and I certainly know you better as a person. So absolutely. But has the core Peter changed? Not that much,
Fuck no.
but partly because again, your core is good. Like again, you're about your business. You take care of your mom. You're loyal to your friends. So those qualities are there. So I wouldn't expect those things about you to change. But you got to be careful with that word evolve. We say we all evolve, not all of us. But then also understand what evolution, again, not getting into a too scientific
No,
or
of course not.
philosophical, but evolution always is an adaptation to your environment. It's not an isolated thing. Things don't just evolve just because, I feel like evolving today. Why do animals change colors and adapt in the wild or whatnot? And because again, that color adaptation helps them better blend in with that environment for camouflage and things like that. And you got these moths and butterflies and stuff like that. Why they do that? Because again, it's conscious of the environment that they're in. You got whales used to be land mammals, but as they in the water, again, whether you believe evolutionary theory or not, I'm not here to debate that. But the theory is, again, the fact that you're in water. Oh, well, you don't need big limbs in water. You need small ones. You don't need tails anymore. You need fins and so on and so forth. So again, you have to have the environment in mind. Because I hear people all the time talk about, yes, I'm evolving and growing as a person. Okay. But then when you start asking about certain things, they don't have any concrete answers. But I'm growing, I'm changing, I'm evolving, but into what and for whom? You cannot talk about growth if it doesn't have an impact on the world around you and the people that are around you. But I hear a lot of, again, on anyone can be in this state, but I hear it a lot from women. I'm growing, I'm changing, I'm evolving, I'm becoming this, I'm becoming the better version. Yeah, you hear the rhetoric, but again, I'm still hearing and seeing the same behaviors that are causing the outcomes, the negative outcomes that you say you do not want. So again, for a lot of people, it's just fluff. So again, we gotta look at this in practical terms. In what ways are you growing? And how is that gave you a better outcome? If you got a temper problem, I see this a lot with those who have, emotional with bad tempers. I see this a lot. I'm growing. Not it's a process for me. I'm still, but you're still saying the wrong things at the wrong times, getting into fights, getting into trouble, losing jobs, losing relationships. But I'm growing. I'm trying to do better. When is that going to stop? And for some people, they got to be honest. It's never going to stop. But for some who are willing to make those changes and start doing and acting in different ways that people can see. And that's another thing. If you really want to change, if you want to do that, coach would tell you too, who are you accountable to? Would you be accountable to someone to call you out saying, look, you're not doing what you need to be doing?
Oh, he's called me out a couple of times.
What's that?
Coach has called me out a couple of times.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, but people who want to say, a lot of people say they want that, but are they willing to submit to something or to someone, to a God, to a person, to a peer, to whatever it is, to get the outcomes that they want? But you'll have people talking, they'll sell seminars, they'll sell books, they'll sell, you can go to all the Tony Robbins seminars that you want to. You can walk on those fire coals and do all that stuff. But if you're not going to do the stuff that is going to affect the changes that you want, and look at what Coach was saying earlier about those SMART goals, if it's not aligning with that, then I don't care. Spend your money. I don't know how much did Tony Robbins say. He was in New York last summer, but $1,200 something like that. It's sold out. But how many people out of that seminar are going to be about doing the things that are necessary to get the outcomes that they want? Now, I'm not saying what he's saying isn't that there's not some truth to what he or any one of those self-help motivational gurus say.
Paul, it's kind of funny you mentioned him. You know why?
What's that?
Because we got a video with him in it. And we're gonna play it right now. I think it's kind of hilarious. You mentioned it, and to be honest with you, I'm like, where is it? Is Toy in my fucking house? Like somewhere behind my, like a spy camera behind my head or something?
I'm waiting for him to finish. I can say something about it. I'll wait after
No, I'm good. Like I said, I'm not saying that there's not stuff. Look, I have Tony. I have personal. I got his. But back then, I guess it was tapes or something like that, or videos. I got it. Someone gave me a set. I'm not saying I haven't found value in some of the things that he says.
But not everything. Let's be honest. Like Tony's stuff doesn't affect every single person.
But that's the thing. But is it? But then the question is it the information or is it the person who's getting the information?
I think it's how you get the information. Let's play the video and we get back to this conversation in 1 second. All right.
All right.
For people watching this, when they wake up tomorrow, what's the first action they could do tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. to start renovating their emotional home?
The first thing they should do is change their physiology, because before you try to take care of your mind, you take care of your body. Your body affects your emotion. Then how they become conscious of it is they simply ask themselves in this moment, what am I focusing on? They start to ask, what am I focusing on? Well, what's wrong is always available. So is what's right. And then the meanings are the most important ones, because when you're really upset, there's a meaning. And I always tell people, meanings come from beliefs. A belief's a poor substitute for an experience. I could believe something about you, you can believe about me, but if we go hang out for a week, we know each other. If you tell me I know what China's like, you've never been there, it's your belief. If we go live there for 6 months, now you know. To answer your question is they got to change the body first. They could do it by lifting weights. Anything that requires you to do something, even for a short time, give you 10 minutes, where you're pushing way beyond your comfort zone. What that does, it makes your mind and your body work together. And then you develop real will.
For an extended period of time.
That's correct.
Regularly.
Yes.
So
it's more importantly than even the extended period of time is the consistency.
Okay, I need to speak.
Oh boy.
The real I need to speak. What I said earlier, I know I was trying like for faction, but they're coming from an African mindset. Get practical knowledge that you're able to utilize to betterment not only you, but the people that surround you. I learned that the saying, make sure the practical and the theory is parallel each other. I used to say, let your word and your action be parallel or be aligned. Those say you do one thing, but your action say otherwise. That makes it look contradictory, right? What he was saying was kind of strange because what he was saying was no different from the Pope I've been saying for the longest since he been on the YouTube shoot. No, what Coach Ferd have been, Coach Ferd, Coach Ferd and Mr. Bennett have been saying that for the longest. Since I know both of them. And I was taught that a strong mind comes with a strong body, meaning you gotta be disciplined, you gotta be consistent. In Nigeria, we talk about discipline. If you're not disciplined, you can never hold yourself accountable for anything. It's easy to drop the ball, or because how you feel. And I'm listening to that, and I'm like, what the hell? What he was saying was simple thing that your elders who older than when you was a knucklehead would tell you certain thing, and you bust them off. I don't know what they're talking about. And you hear that same thing over the period of time as you get older from different people. And I find that strange. So when I was doing that batching, did I realize I was doing that batching because just like my field, I'm in IT. I like building stuff. I like to work with my hands. There's something I don't understand. I'll look for knowledge to perfect what I'm working on so I can get better to the next level. It's like a building block. I watch YouTube to watch people who don't know how, who never built a house in their life, go to Home Depot, go to all their workshop they have, learn how to build a house from scratch and watch how they come about. And I'm like, they got practical knowledge that they can pass down to the next generation who can take whatever you gave them and perfect it over time. And that's not the case. How the way we build a house 200 years ago is different than how we build a house now. If that's not the case, did we not take the knowledge of what they built back in the yesteryears and perfect on it to make it solid, more sturdier, that can last longer? If that's not the case, we didn't. I was saying that thing a few moments ago because what knowledge are you chasing after? Something that is practical, that is useful, that enrich your life, that better your life, that moves you to the next level, what you're trying to accomplish? Or you just get into this for the sake of, hey, yeah, I called it out. That's exactly what it feels like. If I want to if I want to be healthy, if I don't want to hear the doctor complain about my health every time I go for a medical checkup, what I'm about to do? Okay, this is my first time drinking a soda like this in almost a whole year plus. I don't like to drink soda too much. I really don't. But if I decide to say I'm done with it, before I touch another soda, will be maybe 2 or 3 years from now or more. Okay, I need to do more push-ups. Maybe start doing 100 push-ups every day so I can be stronger again. Practical information, practical knowledge that I can utilize that will not only keep me focused, but keep me closer to my goals. I'm saying that in that way because we hear these things from either from our parents or our uncle or our teachers, and we brush it off. But it's kind of weird. You gotta pay money for the same knowledge that you were told by somebody for free. So what make the difference? Because you pay for it, or you got it for free? That I'm trying to put out because that video right there, it is struck a chord, and I get it, I understand it, but I'm seeing it from a different angle. Because Ray is not here, so I'm taking his position, being the a-hole for today, and I
Okay.
digress.
Paul?
Like I said, I couldn't disagree with anything he said. You know, and I like the fact that again he's talking about what you do today. Again, not like McConaughey was saying 15 years from now, what you do today. The only thing, just to reply to David a little bit, again, this could be an age thing with me, but I'm also I'm very careful when I use the word discipline, because I think a lot of people like to use discipline when they really mean stubbornness and
I
or
get it.
rigidness.
I get it.
And again, it all goes back to, again, are you adapting to, are you growing with the world that's in front of you? Who worked 20 years ago? Again, me and Coach, we can go back in the day. We can talk about that stuff all day long. Is it really going to help this current generation? So again, there has to be flexibility. I mean, Pete, you know all those military guys, what they always talk about: adapt, improvise,
Evolve.
in this evolve. Again, and evolve is, again, as I said earlier, is based on the environment that you're in. You evolve to it. You don't just evolve to evolve. So even discipline. And I had to learn that because, again, I was so rigid with my workout protocol for so many years. Now, some people would say I'm rigid now. But when I adopted this new training methodology that I adopted as a lifestyle, I was training 5-6 days a week, 2 hours a night, and I wasn't growing because that's what the magazines. I read Flex magazine, Muscle and Fitness magazine. I read Arnold Schwarzenegger's Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding. There's the program, so I got to get in. And for
In other
years,
words,
I did not grow.
you were listening to everything else, but you are not mastering yourself.
Correct. So again, but I was disciplined though. So when I, discovered this new training methodology, when I got used, it was awkward because it's like, what am I going to do with all this other time? I'm training 12 hours a week. Now I'm under 2 hours a week. What am I going to do all this free time? Someone sarcastically said to me, you could maybe, I don't know, read more. Maybe you could spend some more time with your wife more or your kids more. And then I was like, oh, yeah. I mean, it kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. It's like, yeah, I mean, but I was so fixed on discipline. But again, wisdom, understanding with the purpose. Are you doing? Yes. I mean, obviously you have to have some discipline over time. You have to be, those things are important. But again, what is the aim? But some people won't move even if it's the right thing to do because no, and they want to use the excuse that they're disciplined. And so we got to be careful with that as well. Discipline is a tool, but it's like a hammer. You don't use a hammer for everything. So I just wanted to kind of call that out because, again, that's something where I see a lot of people, discipline. It's like, are you getting the outcomes that you want? At the end of the day, I'm always going to take it back to that.
Mm-hmm. Coach, we got.
Man, listen, man. I think, just the video, it's always interesting when I hear guys that are years younger than me speak to those things, where when I was probably having to maintain the most discipline, as no pun intended, the most being consistent, being an achiever, sometime an overachiever. And even when I went to the military, y'all, it seems like if what y'all saying is that the phrase today, they've changed it. When I was in the military, it was adapt, improvise, and overcome. So if it's anything different today, then they definitely changed it. But it helped me. You know what I'm saying? I knew in the military, you're going to adapt to the military way of life, or you just won't be around too long. You're going to find yourself in a whole lot of trouble. They tell you hurry up, you hurry up. They tell you wait, you wait. They tell you learn the skill. They're going to sit you in the classroom. They're going to take you outside. You go practice what you just learned. And if you still messing up, they're going to take you back in and give you some more remedial training. And then you're going to come back out and keep going until you pass the test. So you're never going to be in a situation where you just fail. If a person fails in the military, they don't want to pass. And you see the results of those guys when they get out. But, I think discipline it should be an unspoken word if you're really trying to do something. You know what it takes. You got to be consistent, consistency. You have to follow the rules also. I've always been a component of following the rules, even as a coach. I wasn't going to get all irate with the officials and, be talking crazy to my team and I'm trying to get them to win the game, but I'm cussing them out. Made no sense to me. So I always wanted to be respectful of that, you know what I'm saying? And just if I'm giving information for someone to be better, then I sort of had to show up for the part. I had to walk in the light of the part. When you're working with young people, they watching your every move. They'll call you out on the spot. And I realize a lot of people that say they want to be in that position, once they get called out, then they panic. Now they pointing fingers. So, just these phases of life and listen to guys younger than me, are they going to maintain the discipline to be in those spaces that they claim they want to be? Are they going to maintain the consistency, the hard work, the dedication, the long hours? Which is more important? Your achievements, your journey to achieve those goals, or just the accolades at the end? I don't think people ask themselves those questions.
And coach, to be honest with you, you have a good point there. A very good point. Now that you and Paul are talking, you're raising flags in my head right now. Like you just said, Paul. But maybe that working out every day is better because I have that same mentality right now. I have to hit the gym at least 4 to 5 times a week. I don't mean you have this conversation, but the way you put it in today, you might get more results by going less than harder.
Yeah.
It's the same to you with the coach. People are watching you all the time, and we don't realize that. Definitely now with cameras being everywhere, and like everybody's watching you. Big Daddy's watching you 24/7. Eventually, you're gonna slip up. As perfect you are, and it's okay. And that goes to my next question. I don't know more a question, more a statement, but kind of both actually. I think failure and setback is part of growth. I personally think.
100%.
I always say every we're gonna fall as we're tumbling down the mountain. We're not gonna fall backwards. We're gonna fall forward, so we can see our mistakes. Because when we get back up the mountain, we don't repeat the same mistakes. We're gonna land on our feet. Not if, we will. And the next 2.0 or 2.5 or whatever version you want to call yourself, you're gonna be a better version, a stronger version, a bearded Greek Spartan version that Paul and Coach are jealous of. But the
You see
point
how
I'm
we
trying to
both
get
laughed
to,
at that, right? We laughed at the
sorry?
same time, right? You see how we laughed at the same time at this.
Hey, I gotta throw my little jabs once in a while
But hang on,
because
but I will push back a little bit on what you. I will push back a little bit on you, sir. When
go
you
ahead.
say you will get on your feet, if you survive,
I will survive.
okay. But keep in mind how we got here. We had some of our ancestors probably went around and they probably ate some berries that probably they shouldn't have eaten and they died from it. And then they learned that, yeah, we probably shouldn't eat those berries. So I'm just saying with failure is going to come some consequences to it. Some of these are
I agree
permanent.
with that part.
I got permanent scars. I got a trach right here from my auto accident back in 1993. Permanent scar right here that reminds me every day of my vulnerabilities. and I was just probably another millimeter here or there, and I probably wouldn't be here talking to you today. So, and the guy who hit me didn't make it. He was a 16-year-old kid, stole a car from Newark Airport. So he had to learn the hard way. But, so again, I think, yes, failure 100% is part of the process. You hope that that there's some safeties around where you can fail safely, and then have a support network to kind of, to pick you up so you can kind of go on. Like when I train with, I'll train at failure where I can't do another rep, but I got safeties. I just built a squat rack. I bought the safety arms, the spotter arms on it. So if I can't get up out of that deep hole, I can drop it. But I'm not afraid to fail. But at the same time, I'm not going to be stupid either. I'm going to make sure I got some safeties in place so that I can come out of this hole and then try again next time. So again, I think that we have to be mindful of setbacks, knockdowns, or whatever. Some people don't get back up again. But did you have? If you're gonna put yourself in that position, do you have the support network? Do you have the people who can pull you back up if you get into a jam?
What's funny? It's funny, you said what you said, because if it's something that I never tried before and I try it and I get to a certain step and that's as far as I go, I don't consider that a failure. I consider it an opportunity, but also I consider it an accomplishment because I didn't know that I could even make it to this level. Just off brute, I guess, just strength, reasoning, just figuring out steps as I build it in place. Thing about life, we got to build it in place, right? Me and Mr. Bennett don't know what it's like to be 60. Well, you don't know what it's like to be good looking in your 50s, like me and Mr. Bennett. You don't know that yet. However, you're going to be
He would help
steps.
himself. He would help himself if he shaved his head.
Yeah. But you're going to be taking steps along the way, right?
You've reached your limit on talking.
In those steps, you want to be better. You want to be better. Each step you take, you want to be better. You want to be better. And you don't know what the outcome will be. But then let's just say 10 years down the road and you still taking steps. Have you failed? No. Because also the thing about life is a forever ending. It's not an ending journey, but it's forever journey. Forever journey. You know what I'm saying? So things that I have never tried, and I try things, I don't call it a failure, just an opportunity to grow and stepping stones. It could probably be worded a little better, but I got to this place with no blueprint. Nobody, you know what I'm saying? I had examples that I can see from other external, entities, but I had to walk certain paths for myself. And then walking this path to the left, I learned things about what's on the right and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? So if I haven't gotten there, if I haven't got to this point, just like, okay, let me say, I didn't know that my skills would allow me to sort of do electricity. And I was able to switch boxes out and put some switches up just based off, of course, YouTube is a learning tool and my basic understanding of that. And I was able to smooth the lights, add a couple of plugs and stuff, put them in the wall, and put the drywall and do all of those things. But you couldn't tell me, I couldn't show you how to put the whole breaker switch in and do all of that. But you know what I'm saying? I feel like that was a success to that level. You know what I'm saying? I never read a book before that. I used to be afraid of electricity, but I've overcome some fears in doing it myself, saved a little money, and I learned some new things along the way. Even though I'm not no professional in electricity, But if you want me to frame out a room for you and do all that, I'm gonna get you 16 on center every time. You know, put some drywall up. Yeah, I got you. So I don't know. I think everybody, again, it's ebbs and flows, man. It's stages, and when that light bulb come on, man, I always say take advantage of that newfound inspiration, that newfound desire. Take advantage of it, because we don't know if we'll be around in 10, 15 years, 5 years, 4 years, you know. So
Oh no, I totally agree with what you're saying. Like the chances of failure are very high, but you can switch gears into what you learn from that failure to something else, and that's nothing wrong with that. But I was having a mindset. Again, I know this is me being a little difficult, hard headed, pain in the ass. Don't smile. And everything above. But I always had a mindset. The way I was raised. Failure was never an option. You only fail when you're in the ground. That is failure.
Mm.
By pushing forward, doesn't matter how many times you fall. You're not in the ground. As long as you have oxygen in your lungs and you're breathing and you have life in you, you haven't failed. You keep going and going and going till you reach that goal, whatever that is. It could be as stupid as open your own restaurant or being the next CEO of the biggest next big internet boom or whatever the case is. You're not dead. That's the key part. You can keep pushing. David, go ahead and I'll play the next video.
I'm glad you're having this conversation because it got me thinking about a lot of things. Mr. Bennett, I thank you very much when you clarify about that word evolve. Be careful how you use it. When I try to think about everything, if I'm trying to evolve or I'm trying to progress to be a better version of myself. Another channel, this might be it. Shout out to DJ Ham, had a topic, do men evolve? And yeah, women want to come in and put their two cents and think as if we're still stuck in the Stone Age in our ideology or our thinking process. And listen to two of the wisest men I've known so far, Mr. Paul Bennett and Mr. Coaster. It got me thinking about is the issue that we didn't evolve to your liking, or is it that whatever ideology or knowledge you're inquiring, it's not connecting to the right frequency you're trying to accomplish something? And I'm saying that because I like what Cole said from his experience in life and everything. He figured out he had something he could put circuit breakers up. I found out I can fix certain things to a certain degree. I don't build a house, but everything I need to repair in the house, so I can put my mind to it and get it done properly. As long as I take the time and the patience to follow through what needs to be done. That I build computers, but doesn't mean I cannot work on other areas. If I want to learn something, I can just go to Home Depot, take a couple of classes, or maybe buy a plot of land, learn how to build my own house from the ground up, figure out how to lay down the foundation, build up the walls up, put things in together. But there are people who are doing that right now. My thought process is this: do you have an idea of what you're trying to build of your individuality? Do you have a foundation? Do you have a blueprint what you're trying to accomplish? Do you have someone who can be your mirror, like I say, accountability partner? 'Cause I know we live in a society that no one to be held accountable for anything. Everybody's always right. I don't want to have that around me. If I don't have someone who can be that mirror or be that, you know what? Nah, you're going down the wrong path. You should be doing it. Then what's the point of it? I think that this is the good concept to have, whereby it starts to make you look at yourself. What path am I taking? Because we're all taking a path. It's a journey. It's not a sprint. The Paul Bennett going to 28 seed and going to 29 seed, am I correct? Coach Further maybe going 30 seasons. I don't know, but he'll be mad long enough. So each season they getting better, they improving. They learn from the last season, so don't repeat again in the new season. Now, my question to Emma, who watched this: what is your end goal that you want to accomplish? What are you trying to become? What not do you need to acquire to get there? Are you willing to take correction in case you're walking down the wrong path? Are you open to criticism? Because part about becoming a better version of yourself, it's like building a car. Am I right?
Mhm.
If you're building a car and the car is not functioning like it's supposed to function, and you made some mistake, you need to find someone who can correct the mistake for you. It's not so. So, what are we lacking in today's society that people don't want to admit that, you know what, I made a mistake? Show me what I need to fix on. Or people walk around with a level of ignorance, don't want to be clear of that where that will throw them off the cliff. That is my thought part right now in this conversation, because listening to Mr. Bennett, I love listening to my elders when they speak. It allowed me to check myself. Maybe I need to remove this, replace it with this. Maybe I have to change my game piece because this may not work for me. Because there are people who have been there before me and they have experienced that life before me. They have got to that stage. I want to get to their stage, but to get to their stage, I need to understand what I need to work on my end. But how would I go about it? And I mute my mic.
I would say this, because I still wrestle with this now, and I don't know if there's an answer. I think, Coach, you kind of mentioned it some, and P talked about doing something until you get the result. But as I said earlier, I've known people who've been on the wrong path for a while, and it took them a while to recognize when to get off of it. So that decision, I remember, was that old Kenny Rogers song, Coach? You got to know when to hold them, when to fold them, when to walk away, when to run. It's,
Know when
that's,
you
I
win
think that, to me, that's the
and
hardest. I think
count
that's like the
your
hardest.
money.
That's the hardest thing in life is knowing, is the path I'm on, will it yield the result, or when do I pull out, when do I realize, what, this isn't what. And to your point earlier, Coach, with the kids, what if in that process, especially with things changing so rapidly? I remember when my daughter, and I got to step away for a minute. I'll be right back. I remember when my daughter, we went to orientation. She went in for supply chain, and she got a degree in supply chain. But I remember in the orientation over the summer, the professor said basically what you're going to be learning now will be irrelevant by the time you graduate. So when you talk about a world that's also evolving so quickly, so that what you thought you may want, and if the world is changing in such a way where that may not be as an attractive option anymore. So do I stay the course on what I want, or do I jump onto the other thing? I got to go answer the door. I'll be right back, gentlemen.
Nah, that's deep. Nah, I'm sorry. That is deep right there. I never thought of it in that kind of
Hold
way.
up. There, hold on. Let him come back. Let's play the next video really fast. And I'm gonna have to I may have to replay it, but let's play it really fast.
Okay.
Oh, where is it? Okay, where is it? I just had it here. Here we are.
So if you wake up in the morning and you don't want to do something, you don't care enough about yourself. And that's what you need to really research is, man, why am I not doing this for myself? Because that is the number one purpose in life. So if you wake up,
Oh boy.
Fucker. Mute button got me. Go ahead, Coach.
I'm sort of confused, right? Hell, I wake up all the time and I don't want to do something. I lay back down till I'm feeling rested. Then I do it at a later time. You know, so
But in your defense, you're also early retired.
yeah, but you know, let's just say I'm working and I'm on the weekend, right? I've always been a person. I ain't gonna say always. When I was single, if I had to do something, I would do it. I couldn't put it off. I didn't have nobody to have my back. I had to do it. I'll get it done. Like, hey, it's done. Once I got married, you know, and me and my wife were sort of similar, we just sort of do things on our own time outside of the important stuff. You know, we can plan to go out and have a dinner and end up, she'll look me and we'll look at each other, seem like at the same time, be like, you know what, we should just stay in tonight and I'll cook and we can just hang out with each other. So, you know, when you're young, yeah, you don't really have time. But I think we use our time unwisely when we're younger. You know, we do procrastinate about things that we can, you know, I'm gonna do this, but then we put it off. You know what I'm saying? I want to get stronger, lose a little weight. I don't know too many people in their 20s saying they're gonna lose weight and stick to it. It's a process. As they get older, then you know other factors may contribute to the weight gain, and you know what I'm saying, a lot of us know who we are. We just try to block it out. But I don't know. It's hard for. I don't think I would have a definitive answer when this happens because I can wake up on Saturday and be like, I'm gonna go cut the grass at 9. It's 4 or 5 o'clock when I cut the grass. You know, so it all depends. If you're working, yeah, and you want to attain goals in your career, you don't have time to waste. You know, leisurely things to me, I've never really been a component of hurry up and I gotta do this and I gotta do that because I never forget, even just being young, man, you know, playing sports and having those Saturday games and my parents showing up, it just made me appreciate the moments. I don't have to do a whole lot of stuff to have a thrill.
So,
I can
coach,
so
this guy, I usually agree a lot of things he says, but this is one of the few times I disagree because I don't want to go to work half the fucking times, but I like money. I like nice things. I like going to Comic Con. I like playing Paul a gyro once in a while. So yeah, I like going to work. I don't want to put a 10 or 15-hour shift every day. I like money. Call me Scrooge. Call me whatever you want to call me. I don't give a shit. What motivates me is putting a roof over my head and food on my table. You can call me whatever you want. You go, oh, he's the worst chef in the world. He's the worst cook in the world. Whatever. I'm cool with that. But guess what? This is why I'm your boss sometimes. Just saying. But me working my ass off makes me who I am. Doesn't mean I want to do it all the time. But David, you had something to say to Paul before he left. You want to? Then I'll replay the video for Paul really fast.
No, what I was saying, I like what Mr. Paul said about that thing he said before we played the video. It kind of like hit deeply because on my journey right now, I'm questioning a lot of things I need to remove or a lot of things I need to replace or add on. And coming from a different path, a different ideology, I don't have time to mope or go to the Christ season. Sometimes I just want to just bury myself in my work or bury myself in my workout. I don't got the time to be like no. So every day when I wake up, I look at the video when I wake up, something came to mind, what can I do today? And get it out of the way. Because when you're coming from an environment where disappointment is a regular thing in your life. And not only disappointment is a regular thing in life, backstabbing become a regular thing in life. You realize, the old saying, you want something to get done right, do it yourself, you have to position yourself whereby don't expect anything from anybody. Keep pushing regardless. even though you don't like it. I don't love money. Money is a necessity to me. I put it like that. I grew up in a family where money was in the excess, and they're ugly as hell. And they're so prideful to the point whereby they have a very unique smell. I don't like pride. I don't like prideful people. I look at them like as they are demons in my eye. I like people who are bold in themselves and they're confident. But when you're prideful, I think you're a demon. I think you're disgusting. I think you're a stink. That's just me. And when you're a bold individual, I sense that a level of consistency that you project out there. And I think that's the motivation to know what I don't want to be like him, but I want to be as good as this person is. You know, this is how I look at things in life. And sometimes I notice being confident and trying to be a better version, it can be misconstrued. It can be considered to be egotistic or either be bragging. You're not in it. Always ask myself, what can I do to make sure I don't get out of line? I don't fall out of my comfort. Now, I don't I don't really have a comfort zone. I don't want to get in a realm whereby I'm walking into the wrong path or being egotistical. I can't stay away from it. I like a check and balance I put in my head that I've learned over the period of time. Because when you grow up whereby your self-esteem have been destroyed, your self-image have been mutilated, then you have to build your self-base or principle in life. That is me. So each and every day I'm asking myself, what needs to be accomplished? What do I have to do to get to that next stage? What must I do different? How can I go about it? That's an everyday thing when I wake up. I don't like that guy mindset that you play in the video because it seems kind of standoffish. Like you want to add on to your ego. Like, yeah, but mm-mm. You and I both have a mixed martial art background.
Hmm.
Yeah, the word discipline have been used not only in mixed martial art but as well as in boxing as well. But when Mr. Bennett break it down, it's not about being disciplined, it's all about being consistent and learning how to adapt. I caught on to that when I'm studying mixed martial art karate, and I get it. What I learned at that time may end up becoming something different now. I'm into IT. I'm into computer. We build the old computer of the yesteryear, not the thing right now. Things are constantly changing. I had to keep that in mind. So whatever I learn now, I can't say that's eternal. I had to be willing to adapt to the changes that are being made and be consistent about it. So my thing that comes to my mind is this: what are we using as the mean of how you take? Know when you're willing to fold, know when to put that old Kenny Rogers song. I grew up in that as a child listening to that song. That's what was stuck in my head. And his voice, it not say it was eerie, it was funny how it sounds. But I get it. Learn how to stop yourself when you know you're going on the wrong path. Either you know how to play, you know how to fold, you know how to take a turn. But we're now in a society that doesn't mean anything anymore. Regardless if you're wrong, you're still right. My question is, how can we keep our mind from all the toxic ideology that can put us on the wrong path? I don't think it's a general question, but I feel as if at the older generation, they're not going to be affected by it. It's the generation behind us. How were we able to say what word, I don't know, not word, but what phrase? I'm a father and a grandfather. That's typical. That's always on my mind each and every day. That's what I wake up every day thinking. What can I pass back down that will hold them in the right path when I'm no longer here? That's my constant concern when I wake up in the morning, not what he's speaking on. Because I grew up in a life whereby my father was not only a father, he was there physically, but not there mentally and emotionally. I didn't learn nothing from him. I learned it from uncle, from high school teachers who display a high level of father figures, ideology, compared to those who we had to share same blood, which is sad. And I got two big brothers down here, which I always enjoy listening to, because they keep me going. So that is something that's always going to be in my mind now. Like when I wake up, I'm not looking at what I could do now. Like, the minute, just go for the correct. When I'm ready to do something, when I'm fully rested, you get up. Yeah, either I'm rested or not. If the agenda is to get the thing fixed, then get it fixed. Get it over with. Get it out of the way.
Paul, it's up to you. Do you want to get into our final thoughts, or you want to watch the video and give your opinion really fast?
You can throw it out there, and then I want to respond to David. But
Go ahead. Respond to David first.
no, well, actually, you know what? I'll save it for closing thought. Go ahead.
All right.
Now, when you screen, sorry for the technical difficulties. Dr. AP Network.
So if you wake up in the morning and you don't want to do something, you don't care enough about yourself. And that's what you need to really research is, man, why am I not doing this for myself? Because that is the number one purpose in life.
Well, if you would have told me the name, I probably would have turned them off. I'm not a fan of the Goggins. I mean, the guy is an extreme ultra athlete. And again, he says some things that are just, again, the rigidness with which he operates, which doesn't necessarily apply to most people. Yeah, there might be a day you may wake up and you may not feel like doing something. And you know what? That might be a good time to take the day off, especially if you have been grinding 80 hours a week or whatever. Yeah, you sometimes, rest. And that's one thing that we oftentimes neglect is the need for rest. One of the reasons why I train twice a week is because my body needs more time to recover. So growth happens in rest, not the workout. The workout is the catalyst for the changes, but then you have to give your body the chance to change. And the fact that I'm older now, I don't recover as quickly as I used to. So one of the reasons why I can't train 5-6 days a week anymore is because I'm not going to be recovered. I was just doing it, and that was my problem. I was doing it repetitively, but again, I was not fully recovered. I was always half into it because I didn't give my body the proper rest, the proper nutrition, and the time with which to grow. So for some people, yeah, maybe you do need a day off, but these are the same people who say you need to eat the same way 7 days a week. No, I say, if anything, eat clean 5 days a week. On a couple of days off, eat whatever you want. Because again, to live in that mode of rigidity can also become a prison for you. So again, I don't go with these, yeah, you got to get up every day. Then how do you have a vacation? How about getting up at sunrise and just watching the sun go up, come up or go down? I mean, there's a time for rest. Even guys said, "Look, I built the world in 6 days and rested on the seventh day." Rest is for us. It's not a prison either. That's why even some people now says, "Okay, why you don't take the Sabbath off?" It says, the Sabbath was made for us, but man wasn't made for the Sabbath. But it's a provision. Yes, you need you need some time to decompress, to load. You need activities. Now, the problem is, again, where wisdom comes in again is you can certainly get overconsumed by your activities. The main thing still needs to be the main thing. But when guys come out and say, oh, well, If I don't get up every day with a purpose, well, maybe I don't want a purpose today. In fact, I think there's some days you should get up and don't even think about anything. Turn your brain off. And if your environment is such where it doesn't allow you to do that, then get out of your environment. I was telling some folks in the Bible study I was doing one time, when was the last time you've been on the beach or on the trail or somewhere will get away from the buildings and the technology and all of the man-made stuff and get into God's creation? When was the last time you put yourself in that space where it was just the creation, you and God, and that was it? But if you're constantly surrounded by stuff and things and distractions and billboards and signs, how can you fast? How can you have that meditation time with God if you're constantly bombarded with messages in your phone and your apps and people calling you? And yeah, sometimes you need to decompress and get away from everything and don't do a thing. Again, wisdom says that there has to be a balance to all of these things. And one more thing we have to also consider, and we may not like it, but I think the Bible talks about it in Ecclesiastes. One of my favorite quotes from Ecclesiastes. I have seen something else under the sun. The race is not to the swift or the battle to the strong, nor do food come to the wise, or wealth or the brilliant, or the favor to the learned. But time and chance happen to them all. Sometimes people are just lucky. And we gotta embrace that. Some people get blessed, and you don't say how. I don't understand how that person got blessed. I've worked twice as hard as them, and I got nothing really to show for it, and that person's got something over there. Sometimes it happens. It may have happened to you. Now it's happening to somebody else. Everybody doesn't just, so again, we want to be formulaic about everything. And the last thing I'll say is this, and this can be part of my closeout. So I talked about how if you want to develop and change and be another person, a better person, it has to be tied to a result and and an outcome that's in the world that you're living in. If you're going to evolve, you evolve in the world that you're living in. It's not evolution for the evolution of itself. But as you're doing all of that, if you want to keep balanced, then you got to be about what Paul talked about. Apostle Paul talked about that. I have learned to be content, not complacent, but content in every situation. If I'm free, I'm content. If I'm in bondage, I'm content. If I have plenty or if I have less, I'm content. But if there's an opportunity to advance your situation, then by all means do it. If you're a slave, then you should certainly get into a mindset to not be a slave anymore if the opportunity is there. But if I got to be a slave, I'm going to be content while I'm here until an opportunity presents itself to get out. So for those who are frustrated with the positions that they're in, I encourage them, understand and recognize that where you're at is where you're at. And you can certainly work and do the things to change your outcomes. But again, there's a part of it where you have to be at the same time grateful and have a heart of gratitude for the position that you're in. You may not have the best job in the world, but look, if it's putting food on your table, thank God for that job until another opportunity. Doesn't mean you don't go and apply for other jobs and opportunities. Thank God for the job that you have. Your car may be iffy once in a while, but it gets you to and from. Thank God that you got home safely. I think for a lot of people, you got to be able to count your blessings also. You can't just live in a constant state of, I'm not happy. And people sometimes are always wanting to change their situation when they realize that at the end of the day, they don't have joy in their lives. Doesn't mean every day is rosy. Doesn't mean every day is going to be pleasant. But every day above ground, I can get up. I have function. I can move. I have my being. I'm not in a wheelchair. That I can get up and certainly work towards that betterment. But you got to be grateful around the same way, because then what you're saying is, because again, when you get to that thing, then in a way, and again, I'm getting overly spiritual here, but you're basically saying, God, I don't appreciate what you gave me. And then why should God give you more? Because every time I give you something, you're just going to complain anyway that I'm not where I want to be. So I think you have to balance this thing with, again, realistic outcomes, smart goals. Shout out to Coach for bringing that out. Smart goals, goals that lead to an outcome, an effect that's not just for you, but for the world that you're in. And along the way, be appreciative of where you're at. And if you're going through some stuff, even in the worst times, especially when I had to take care of my parents those last 5 years, it was the toughest time of my life. But I became a much stronger person because of it. So again, it's not what you get from the goal that matters. It's what you become through it that matters. And I lost my hair as a result of it. Full disclosure. But I look so much better now. I should have did this years ago.
Talk your
Hater.
shit. Talk
Hater.
your shit,
Hater.
President. Talk your
Hater.
shit.
You know what?
Stand on
Sign
them.
language there.
You know what?
Don't
I
let
might.
them hate. Don't let them hate on
I
you.
mean, I have bald hair
I
because
don't
of
have
my.
to hate
Hold on.
nothing.
Hold
See
on.
this
Hold on.
beautiful locks?
Hold on. I mean, I have bald hair because of my genes, but I might have to buy the bald head scalp and wear to represent both of them if I have to.
So shave your head, dude.
I try, it doesn't work. It make it look like Billy Blank.
Okay, I'm cool with that.
What's wrong with Billy
All right.
Blanks? What's wrong
So
with
who
Billy
wants to go
Blanks?
next?
I did it one time in my 20s, and when I came out, everybody, hey, Billy Blank. I was not loving that thing. They
Man,
were,
listen, I don't care what y'all hard ankle musty guys think. It was for the ladies, for me. I mean, I'm being facetious when I say
What I said, for a goal, right? I said yes.
Hey,
For a
listen.
goal, yes. He
I
went
saw,
for the ladies. I love it. I
saw
love it.
my head bald from basic training. I'm like, oh yeah, I can wear the bald head. Plus, I was getting out of the service, so I just wanted to start a fresh, new image with the teachings that I have achieved. So it all worked out. It all worked out.
It's not for everybody, though.
It ain't. It ain't. I ain't got no sausages in the back of my head. It's just
I don't got the George
Talk your
Jefferson. I don't
shit,
got
it's just
the
the one big
horseshoe.
pit bull.
I don't got the
Stand on
horseshoe.
them, Coach.
My stock went up about 200%.
All right.
You
Coach,
know,
you want to go next with your final thoughts?
I mean, final thoughts, man. Again, man, always great topics, man. Listen, I think for us in this modern time and this modern world, man, we all have to continue to evolve, man. YouTube is sort of leveling the playing field for information to get spread in real time. If you don't take advantage of it in the next 4 to 6 years, you'll do yourself a disservice. So I just hope that anyone that's looking to be in a better space in life, you have to be willing to put in the work, put in the time, put in the energy it takes to get to that goal. It's not going to be easy because brother like Mr. Bennett, he ain't going nowhere no time soon. Brother like David and Sparta, they still fighting strong. So if you young and you coming up, understand that you got to put in the work. And it may take you 20 years when you're a little bit more wiser, a little bit more uglier like me, bald-headed, gray, wearing glasses, all of those things. But when you get there, you'll be ready and prepared for the journey for the rest of your life. So, again, man, salute, man. It's always a positive just to hear information from other men who's trying to be better, and women too. So I never discount.
So I let David go. Then I'm gonna throw back to Paul and you because I think you guys have a little announcement tonight. I think it's time to pop the bubble.
final
do
thoughts. I am glad I'm able to hear from my two big brother, Mr. Bennett and Coach Fur, because what they speak upon is solid wisdom. And I'm glad to get some deep level of clarity. Well, this might be my final year with hair, 'cause I'm thinking if I want to eliminate the stress of picking my hair every time, I might just start shaving everything or join the 7B. I don't know, I'm thinking about it because
Sorry.
I'm just saying because if I want something completely different, I might well do something completely different. I think I'm not gonna do it. So maybe start shaving my head clean. Will be a new thing for me. I don't know till what happened.
If that works for you, do it, David.
Hey, If they draw way too much attention, that will hide the ball on us.
You always
I'm
can
just,
wear a hat and a scarf
yeah. I know.
and a dashiki.
I'll be like LA Cool J, hide the ball on us when needed.
I'm gonna throw a plunger at your head.
A plunger. What's
You know what? Mr. Paul Bennett and Mr. Colfer, we should start the club. So when I join in, I can wear the shirt 7B and be underneath to be the bouncer. How about that?
All right, David. Uh, Mrs. Spartan, would you like to say anything before we go move on to Paul's and Coach's announcement?
I don't even know what to say after all that bullshit. Y'all crazy. But
You
I
know,
do want to say this real quick on the topic, real
wow?
quick. Um, I heard everything you guys said, and Mr. B and Coach, oh y'all have some good points. But I do want to do a little, just a small pinch of a pushback because when you have that goal, you have to have persistence so you can finish that goal. If you're not persistent, your goal is not going to be finished, right? So, yes, you do have to give yourself a break. We're humans. We have needs and wants, but our needs come first. Rest is like one of the main topics we have to because we need our rest. We ain't going to be able to function. So yeah, you give yourself a break. Yeah, live life. Go on a trip. Treat yourself. Have a me day. You know what I'm saying? But you have to have persistence when you're doing stuff. So I have to say that because you don't want to give them the wrong message. Like, oh, I can do this and I ain't gotta do the work. And if you want to go spiritually, faith without work is dead. You cannot ask God for something in life, but you're not gonna work towards getting it, and He's not gonna just give it to you. You gotta work for it a little bit. So I just wanted to say that this was a good
So what was
topic
the pinch?
because you kind of like made it
No, I
seem like
didn't.
it's easier, or
Did I,
maybe I heard it wrong
gentlemen?
because I was
Gentlemen.
coming in. No, because I was also coming in on
so
the panel.
Queen, it was the actually the opposite. He was telling you, take time off, recover,
Yeah, and I
relax.
was agreeing with that, and I agree with that.
Okay, it sounded like you had a pushback. It wasn't really a
Nah, but
pushback.
as far as the dis, I guess when I heard the Goggins video, because he was saying if you take a day off, then you're off kilter or what have you. So again, it was like he was pushing this extreme of just busy, busy, busy all the time. And I was saying that there's time when you need, again, you do need to take a break. You do need a time of rest. It doesn't mean that you're not disciplined and that you're not focused on your goals, but if you focus on like all the time, then it's not going to necessarily, it's not necessarily going to, yield you a positive outcome. Even
Yeah.
when you're chopping a tree down, you got to take a break and sharpen that axe before you go chopping at it again. So that was my main point. I was pushing back against the extreme of not, but again, that's the wisdom part. That's knowing how much, when to push, when to pull back. That's always the thing that even guys at me and coach's age, we still figuring that out. When to push, when to, sometimes I got to pull myself back out of something, and then there's times we'll say, "Oh, I need to pick this up." So so that's always the struggle to know how much and how little. I think we might be a little bit better at it since we've been at this for a while, and there might be times that you know what, hey, let's pull back, guys. Let's just chill, and there's nothing wrong with that either.
Okay,
All right,
my
I'm
bad. I
gonna.
apologize
No
then,
problem.
because I
All
thought
right,
you was trying to make it easier for him. Like, don't be persistent. Like, you got your goal. You take your break. Go live life. You know what I'm saying? Hey, just like that college commercial. Get off the couch. You ain't doing nothing. Go to
all
the.
right. So
So,
I'm gonna drop me, Black David, and I'm give the panel for a second to Paul and Coach to say what they have to say for a minute.
Okay, so
What's up,
basically,
brother Ben?
hey, how you doing, sir? See,
AKA
look at this,
Hunts.
look at this, shout out to the bold and the beautiful, the
Most like it.
beneficent, benevolent ball brotherhood, and you just see these two eloquent Gen X gentlemen here. We're going to be kicking off a new show on the Sparta HQ Network. The name of the show is going to be Next Gen Training. And it's basically, since Coach has an extensive background in coaching athletics, and working with youth, and I have certainly experience certainly as a personal trainer and also working with youth and youth programs as well. We wanted a show that was definitely going to be targeting towards certainly youth and adolescents, but also for parents who are looking to basically give their kids, or even themselves. Anybody can learn from this, not just for kids only, but just the tools. Some of the things that we've talked about tonight. How do you focus? How do you set smart goals? What are rules of conduct? That what is good communication and proper communication? What are things that you can certainly, any person at any age can benefit from? But what can you do to improve? And certainly, just using what we've done as coaching people. I've trained kids. And certainly we have a passion, I think, for the youth. And so we're going to entertain a show where each shows we're going to be dealing with different concepts of personal development that young people can benefit from, but again, also for parents, that they can hopefully help to impart some of these principles into play. So I'm definitely looking forward to hosting a show. This will be my first opportunity to host with Coach. I know we have a one-on-one sports show that we're co-hosts on with the crew from Texas there, but this will be our first one-on-one show. So I'm definitely looking forward to an open dialogue and discussion with Coach, using some materials that he has collected over the years, and those are going to be the centerpieces of the show. And we're looking forward to having an impactful conversation. Certainly, the show itself is going to start. Initially, we had a May 9th date, but we had a meeting on Monday, so we're actually going to push that date back to the 22nd. And we'll look to hope we'll have the opening titles. I'll be sending those out shortly, so we can set up slides and to set up shows for that. But Coach, I'm looking forward to sharing the space with you. It's always been a pleasure. You're certainly has always been a stand-up man, and just with your experience, your military background, and just what you've done, I think a lot of people are going to be able to benefit from the knowledge and information that you'll be sharing. And certainly, it's a pleasure for me to be a part of the conversation. So, anything you'd like to say, sir?
No, man. Listen, man, I'm just honored that, that I'm being able to share this space with you and just give some I don't know if I would say much needed, much warranted information for people who may just be looking for answers to some issues or some opportunities that may be embarking on. Listen, we're not calling ourselves experts. We are men. We of the same generation, have some similar ideologies. Our life paths may have been different, but we are both in an age of life where we are mature. We're looking at it from an open mind. Myself, I'm sure Mr. Bennett will agree that, from an open-minded point of view, and it's not so much to say what's right and what's wrong,
Yeah.
but to just provide that information that could help anyone who may be at I would say, a transitional space with their young adult, teenager who's, looking for answers. And if you don't have it, they can definitely tune in. You can have them sit down with them and pose questions in the chat about certain topics or questions you may have, where they may be. We'll definitely be trying to provide resources just on how to connect with the community resources that are available in your town, and just any career choices that they may be thinking about. Just giving them the best advice that we can. We don't know all the answers, but we'll get some of the answers sometime in the moment. Sometime we'll come with answers, but yeah, just family oriented. We ain't gonna get into all the mess and be arguing and fighting
No.
over what Shannon Sharp is doing with the. No, we ain't doing none of that. It's just about helping the ones that are behind us. As he said, the title is Next Gen Training, and it's going to be a combination of just physical and mental, social, emotional, and what I'm saying, maybe you can get it a little stronger in the process and just put yourself in a better position in life. So again, Sparta, man, appreciate you, man. Mr. Benny, of course, man, strong, man. So I appreciate just the whole thing, man. I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready. So the Derby's this weekend here. Everybody's going to be wild, but I'm ready. So I'll be there Monday for sure.
Well, before bringing the other guys back up here, honestly, Coach, and Paul knows how I feel about this, and I'll say it to you. It's an honor to have you part of this journey and part of this family. I think you can bring a lot of knowledge. We got to work about you shining on your head. You're reflecting too much off the camera. Except that, we have talked on the phone multiple times. We always have great conversations, and I always like picking your head and picking your brain and all this stuff. So I think this is a great opportunity to share some knowledge with everybody else. So let's get the other guys back up here really fast, and let's close out the show.
Wanna go live at like what
Okay,
channel?
so
All
we're gonna be
channels.
Coach, are you gonna be streaming on your channel too, or just here?
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely try to stream on my channel. I definitely, I was saying I was gonna ask you about it on Monday or whatever. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I can walk you through it. So it will be a schedule overhaul of the whole channel, meaning, so this show will be moved to Tuesday, and coaches and polls will be going to Thursdays. Are we still doing 9 o'clock, guys? Right? 9:30. I'm sorry, 9:30.
Yeah, 9:30, and the show is going to be. We're going to again keep the shows brief. We're going to start out initially for the show for an hour, and then we'll see depending on how it goes. We may expand it out, but we want to keep the subjects
precise.
tight,
Yeah.
and precise, and we'll see what the reaction is, and we'll look to build from there if need be.
All right. Except that we will give you guys more inform as dates get closer and everything like that. Before we go, Coach, anything else? Last thing for you?
No, man, great topic, man. Again, I appreciate Queen joining us, even though it's late. I'm curious about this name. I'm gonna have to do some investigation about the Queen Sparta part of it. But hey, it's always appreciative, man.
Yeah, I was thinking, did you two want to announce?
Let's move on. Paul, next. What you got, Paul?
I'm good, sir. I think I gave everything I had.
David?
Good show tonight.
I'm enjoying the show. They with a great topic, a good in-depth topic for sure. I wish we could do more intellectual topic like this. Not some of them you want to walk out, but it is great. I'm looking forward to Coach Furge and Mr. Bennett show coming up soon. I want to see this first episode, see how that roll out. Other than that, next week on Anime Unlock, we will be talking about Mobile Suit Gundam Wings, a classic anime that made
Whoa. You guys didn't tell me this shit.
I mentioned it on our last episode, we will be talking about it, and I said on
Yeah,
this
but you kind of want to talk to the King Kahuna first before you announce anything.
but it was mentioned on our Discord, and I mentioned it also when we were about to end the show that we'll be working on.
David, I'm busting your balls. I don't care.
I know you busting my ball, but my ball too heavy for you. That's why.
Yeah, you mean too small. Anyway.
You wish it was.
Lady Spartan,
It's very uncomfortable now, gentlemen. Let's
Lady
move on.
Spartan, do you have anything else to say? Queen Spartan.
Yes, I'm the only lady here, and I'm not no girl, so I'm not no princess. So that's why I am Queen Sparta, and I'm part of the Sparta fam. So on that note, Coach, you need a Sparta name. You're the only one that ain't got no Sparta name. We got Mr. B ×7 and President. We got Bear Paws. We got Ghost, and we got me, Queen. And what are you? Why you want to bust somebody out? Thank you, Sparta family. Good
Yeah, you know what?
night.
Just for you, I'm gonna play. I got to play the button.
This is Sparta!
Thank you.
All right, guys. I'm sorry. I'm gonna cut you off. You got anything else to say before I go? We close it out. Let's take that for now. All right, guys. As always, we always close the show one way, and you know how I have to do it. Stay fresh, stay safe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
Peace.